One of the biggest mysteries of the 21st century is the disappearance of the Malaysian Boeing in 2014. It's hard to believe, but in times of advanced technology with satellites and radars, a huge airliner can completely disappear. This story is about a civilian plane that went missing and what could have happened to it. The 8th of March 2014, a Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777 was flying from the capital of Malaysia to the capital of China. 239 people were on board, including the crew. The aircraft has been serviced and was in perfect condition. 40 minutes after takeoff, devices transmitting information about the location stopped working on board, and flight MH370 disappeared from the radars. No alarm was received. For a long time, dispatchers tried to contact Boeing, but to no avail. So began the most massive search in the history of aviation. The search for the plane began 10 hours after the loss of contact in the location where the flight was last known to be. When data from military radars was analyzed, it turned out that immediately after talking with the dispatcher, someone on the aircraft manually turned off the communication system with the ground and abruptly changed the flight course. The last known location that the Boeing was recorded was in the Strait of Malacca. The search moved there but was unsuccessful. A little later, data from satellites became available. Every hour, this particular satellite constellation received signals about the operation of the aircraft engines, but unfortunately did not track the location of the aircraft. However, an approximate route was able to be calculated. It was found out that after the loss of contact, the Boeing flew for another 7 hours over the Indian Ocean and probably fell into the water when it ran out of the fuel. During the search, a sea area comparable to the size of Australia was surveyed. 26 countries participated. The total cost exceeded $130 million. The crash site was never found. A year and a half later, several pieces of debris washed up on the shores of the Indian Ocean, confirming at least the crash and wreckage of the airliner. After examining the wreckage, experts came to the conclusion that the plane went a vertical dive and fell into the water at great speed. The case with the Malaysian Boeing has generated a lot of controversy and conjecture. For example, the possibility of hijacking by terrorists was discussed. However, their motive was not clear. Moreover, not a single terrorist organization has claimed responsibility for what happened. It is known that 2 Iranians got on board using foreign passports, but they turned out to be ordinary migrants when the investigation figured their identities. The possible accident in flight also does not hold water. Otherwise, the crew would have reported the problem to the dispatcher. Among other assumptions, the plane landed somewhere or that it was shot down by the military and they hid information. Or even that the plane was remotely controlled by a hacker. And there was also an assumption of mysticism and abduction by aliens. The most popular version is that one of the pilots hijacked the plane in order to commit suicide. If you take the following facts, then a lot can be explained. First, turning off the communication systems with the ground, then flying clearly along the border of Malaysia and Thailand so that none of the countries raised the alarm. All this speaks of the actions of a person who is well acquainted with the details of aviation and in possession of access and control of these aircraft systems. According to experts, one of the pilots could lock himself in the cockpit alone, put an oxygen mask, depressurize the cabin so that the passengers would die from a lack of oxygen, turn the plane into the Indian Ocean, and fly until the fuel ran out. The press especially widely discussed the motives of the aircraft pilot whose wife left just the day before the tragedy. 53-year-old Zahari Ahmad Shah was a top pilot. He loved flying so much that he built a realistic flight simulator at home. In the computer memory of the simulator, they found a path very similar to that followed by the missing Boeing. It is also interesting that the plane made an unnecessary detour around the island of Penang, the place where Ahmad Shah was born. In favor of this theory, investigators related to another airline crash in 2015, where an Airbus pilot was depressed due to a difficult divorce and crashed the plane into an alpine slope. In that tragedy, 150 people died. There is much less information about the second pilot of flight MH370. Farik Abdul Hamid was 27 years old. He had plans for his life, and according to rumors, he wanted to marry his girlfriend. There is also a huge scandal in his professional flight history. Once, the pilot brought two girls into the cockpit of an airplane. He had met them at the airport and obviously wanted to impress them. The girls were in the cockpit for the entire flight and took several photos. The final report of the international investigation team did not name the exact reasons why the Malaysian Boeing disappeared. However, there is reason to believe that there was human intervention, as a result of which the communication system stopped working and the aircraft was manually deployed. Technical problems are practically excluded. The culprit could be the pilot or someone else. More clarity will be brought by black boxes if they are ever found. The black boxes register many technical and flight parameters, and so are of great interest. But until such a time the black box is found, what then happened on board and why the crash site was never found, one can only guess.